On March 18, 2003, just before the U.S. invasion of Iraq, nearly $1 billion in U.S. dollars vanished from the Central Bank of Iraq. A handwritten note, allegedly signed by Saddam Hussein, ordered $920 million to be given to his son Qusay Hussein. How did Saddam pull off this audacious scheme, marking the biggest bank heist in history? Saddam Hussein's reign as the president of Iraq was marked by authoritarian rule, brutal suppression of dissent, and a penchant for amassing personal power. Rising to power in 1979, he ruled Iraq with an iron fist for over 2 decades, utilizing a network of secret police and a cult of personality to maintain control. Despite his iron grip on power, Saddam's regime ultimately crumbled following the 2003 invasion of Iraq by coalition forces, leading to his capture, trial, and eventual execution in 2006. Before getting into the audacious Saddam Hussein heist, it's crucial to grasp the volatile climate in Iraq at the time. The year was 2003, and the country was embroiled in conflict with the United States. Just hours after the heist unfolded, American bombs rained down on Baghdad, signaling the commencement of a swift and brutal campaign to dismantle Hussein's regime. The nation had been at war with the United States for less than 2 months, a period marked by rapid and relentless efforts to oust Hussein from power. With the fall of Baghdad, citizens unleashed pent-up aggression upon government buildings, fueled by years of oppression and brutality under Hussein's rule. Finally liberated from his tyrannical grip, the Iraqi people were eager for change. Against this backdrop of internal unrest and imminent external threats, Hussein orchestrated the daring heist. Sensing the impending downfall of his regime, Hussein likely saw the stolen funds as a means to facilitate his escape and evade accountability for war crimes. With George W. Bush's U.S. military swiftly advancing, time was running out for the dictator to flee the country he once ruled with an iron fist. In a matter of weeks, the U.S. military dismantled Saddam's regime, leaving little time for the embattled dictator to salvage his legacy. Faced with imminent defeat, Hussein's only option was to make a swift exit, with the stolen funds potentially serving as a lifeline in his bid for survival. March 18, 2003 holds a significant resonance for many post-9/11 veterans, marking the prelude to the US-led invasion of Iraq. The Iraqi dictator, anticipating challenges during the impending conflict, decided to take action. He sent his son, Qusay Hussein, to the Central Bank of Iraq in Baghdad with a note written by himself. The note instructed the bank to hand over a whopping $1 billion in US dollars. As the clock struck 4 a.m. on March 18th, the eve of American cruise missiles targeting the Iraqi capital, a remarkable scene unfolded at the central bank. 3 sizable trucks arrived, signaling the commencement of an extraordinary operation. Over the course of several hours, a continuous flow of metal boxes brimming with an astonishing $900 million in US 100 bills dollars and an additional $100 million in euros were meticulously loaded onto the awaiting vehicles. Remarkably, this audacious heist unfolded without a single gunshot or explosion. Instead, it was orchestrated through the power of a handwritten note, discreetly delivered to the bank's governor. The note, bearing the unmistakable authority of Saddam Hussein, emphasized the necessity of this extraordinary measure to safeguard the funds from falling into foreign hands. Thus, the stage was set for one of the most daring heists in modern history, poised to make waves amidst the impending chaos of war. In the face of impending military action, Saddam Hussein, in his megalomania, viewed Iraq's cash reserves as his personal piggy bank. Years of consolidating power and surrounding himself with compliant yes men had created an environment where challenging the dictator was unthinkable. Consequently, when Saddam, under the mistaken belief that the Americans would never invade Iraq, made a last-minute demand for $1 billion, the central bank operated within a climate of unquestioning obedience. No one dared to seek a legitimate financial rationale for the unprecedented withdrawal, allowing the audacious heist to unfold without challenge. Although the large sum of money raised questions, some experts believed that the withdrawal might not have been illegal. This is because Saddam Hussein had complete control over Iraq's government and its financial institutions, including the central bank. "When you get a note from Saddam Hussein, you do not discuss it," said a former bank official. It's even possible that the $1 billion belonged to Saddam himself, accumulated over his years in power. Initially, American intelligence thought that Saddam might be trying to escape with the money before the invasion. There were reports of trucks matching the description crossing the border into Syria, as observed by a team of U.S. Army Special Forces near Iraq's border. Others speculated that Saddam Hussein intended to use the money to fuel a resistance within Iraq as American troops advanced across the country. This theory resonated with many Iraqis who believed that the funds could also facilitate the escape of Saddam's inner circle, including family and close associates. Saddam Hussein's audacious heist from the Central Bank of Iraq represented just one facet of a broader pattern of kleptocratic behavior that intensified in the final days of his regime. Middle Eastern banking sources unveiled a series of covert maneuvers involving the transfer of millions of dollars into private accounts abroad. This clandestine financial activity took the form of a flurry of transactions, predominantly routed through Europe and funneling funds into accounts held in Jordanian and Palestinian banks. The magnitude of these transfers was staggering, estimated to fall within the wide range of $5 billion to $40 billion. Notably, a single bank received at least 5 transfers ranging from $100,000 to $1 million, underscoring the systemic nature of the covert financial operations orchestrated by Saddam and his inner circle. In the ensuing days and weeks, coalition forces embarked on a mission to recover the missing funds. They managed to locate approximately $650 million of the stolen money through thorough searches and patrols across Iraq. The caches of funds were discovered hidden in one of the palaces previously occupied by Qusay Hussein, Saddam's other son. The pursuit of the Hussein brothers intensified when Qusay was traced to a residence in Mosul, a northern Iraqi city. Despite attempts to resist multiple raids by American forces, Qusay and his brother Uday were ultimately betrayed by one of the house's guests seeking the $30 million reward. The house became a target for American troops, who unleashed a barrage of TOW anti-tank missiles, resulting in the demise of everyone inside. When $650 million mysteriously surfaced behind a false wall in the palace belonging to Saddam's son Uday, some officials speculated it must have originated from the central bank. However, it was later revealed to be Uday's personal stash, adding another layer of intrigue to the saga. So, did Saddam successfully make $1 billion vanish into the dusty Baghdad air? Not exactly. Much like his elusive weapons of mass destruction and his own fate, which was eventually discovered in a mud shack 8 months later, the dictator's attempts at concealment proved less than foolproof. Even before the US learned of Saddam's bank heist, American troops stumbled upon hundreds of aluminum boxes containing approximately $4 million each in 100 bills at one of Saddam's palaces. These boxes had been covertly flown to Kuwait, where military personnel were tasked with the tedious job of counting the cash. Upon learning of this windfall, John Taylor, the US Treasury Department's Undersecretary for International Affairs, advocated for returning the funds to the central bank. However, the White House and Pentagon had other plans. They decided to retain the money and entrusted the newly formed Coalition Provisional Authority with distributing it to military commanders on the ground as they saw fit. Over the ensuing years, the 100 bills were distributed somewhat haphazardly, becoming a tantalizing temptation for American soldiers. The influx of cash, combined with the billions of dollars flown into Iraq by US planes, fueled a wave of opportunistic theft among military personnel. Saddam's ill-gotten gains began surfacing in unexpected places, including Yuma, Arizona, where the FBI uncovered 91 deposits totaling over $440,000 made by Marine Maj. Michael Nguyen, responsible for dispensing money in Anbar province, mysteriously made nearly $700,000 vanish. His suspicious purchases of a Hummer and a BMW upon returning home to Oregon raised red flags. Ultimately, approximately 35 U.S. service members were convicted of theft between 2004 and 2008. Yet the biggest thieves, as chronicled by author James Risen, remained elusive, leaving behind a trail of intrigue and unanswered questions. Despite the intense assault, the search of the premises failed to uncover the remaining $350 million from the Iraqi central bank. To this day, the fate of the missing funds remains shrouded in mystery, with no trace or indication of their whereabouts. Don't miss out on captivating stories and insightful content. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel if you'd like to know about infamous masterminds.